Hello, welcome back to another video on a new art doll that is available in my shop, creationthat.com. It's a second one from my Halloween collection. So if you haven't seen the bone bat, check it out. It's still in my shop. So check that out. Payment plans are welcome for all of my work. So just shoot me a message if you're interested in that. So I'll have you a little look at the next doll. So I wanted to do something a bit silly and a bit sort of cheeky. So I went for a ghost raccoon, and it's meant to be like a really poor handmade sheet of a ghost. So a little look. There's a little Halloween bucket that goes on his hand. So okay, so he's a little Halloween guy. Bucket is filled with treats. I'll take his sheet off so you can actually see the doll. Okay, so there he is. He's a realistic raccoon. With his little tongue out. The tongue is cosplay, so it's pretty flexible, so it won't break. But little look. There we go. Fully posable. Look at his face. And yeah, so he's super cute. He's a chunky boy. So if you want to know how I made him, then just stay tuned and wait till the end of the video. You'll learn how to make him. Okay, so I'm going to start off by painting up some glass cabochons, and these are going to be the eyes. So I'm using a water-based acrylic paint, and I'm just using black for this one and letting it dry for 24 hours before I even put it into the polymer clay. Always test your pieces before you're going to put like solvent things or paints to polymer clay, because sometimes it can have a weird reaction. And then I'm going to start sculpting the head. So I'm using Sculpting Original for both the head and the feet, and I've created a aluminium foil core, and that's going to basically act as a skull, and then I'm going to put the polymer clay over the top of the foil just to cover it fully, and I can start sculpting some really rough details. And once I'm happy with that shape, I can start sculpting the finer details. So I basically just build up sections that I'm working on. So I'm working on the mouth area, and then I'm just going to start building up the muzzle area and the nose, and I can start working on the eyes once I've got those placements right. And then once those three areas are done, I can start adding, like bulking it out a little bit and adding some little details. So I'm not going to go too crazy on the details because I'm going to be applying faux fur to the head of this, so no need to go too crazy. But if you're just painting it, then definitely spend some more time creating those details and making it look a bit more realistic. So I use a bunch of different tools to create some detailing. So I got these ball tools from Sculpting, but you can find ball tools anywhere, like eBay, AliExpress or something. And these little needle tools, which I got out of a pottery set, and they are really fantastic tools to use. They're probably my most used tools. Okay, so with the eye placement, I do like a little eye socket with small bits of clay where I can place the cabochons on top of and sort of angle them to make them a bit more even and a bit more realistic. It sort of pushes them out a little bit. And then I can do the eyelids using some like little worm type bits of clay, and I'll add some details once I'm happy with the placement of these eyelids. For the ears, I just sort of create a little tip using my thumb and just basically pushing the clay on the edge of my thumb, and create like an ear shape and just sort of rounding it over, and then making sure I've got the placement right on the head. So for the tongue, I'm using a little bit of beige Cos clay, and the Cos clay works really well because it's not really fragile like Sculpey is. Normally I'd use Super Sculpey for this, but I decided to go with the Cos clay for this one, and it's got a little bit of flex in it and doesn't break so easily. And I'm just getting a little place, making a little place for where the tongue is going to be inserted. And this was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I wasn't originally going to do a tongue, but for this little Halloween themed, I thought I'd do something a bit cheeky and go with the little tongue poking out. Okay, and then finally just doing a little bit of fur detailing around the eyes, the nose and the mouth. Nothing too drastic, and it's mostly going to be covered up with faux fur anyway, but I just like to do it around the areas that have thin bits of faux fur applied. For the hands and feet, I basically just roll out 4 bits of the same size pieces of clay and then shape them to a rough shape, making sure they all look kind of the same. Obviously the feet are going to be different. The armature is going to sit in the feet different than where the hands are going to sit. So I'm using a 1/4 size armature for this one. It's a little bit bigger. Looks like they're a medium size, but the hands are quite small, so it makes it a little bit, the posability not as great as using the smaller armature, but it needed to be the bigger armature because the head is quite heavy. So I'm just cutting out some finger shapes, I guess. So I do this for all 4 of these hands, and I'm just shaping them into fingertip shapes, and then I'm going to be attaching them onto the little fingertip areas that I've just sculpted out that you can see there. So it takes a bit of time for me to sculpt all the fingertips together and make sure they're all blended in nicely so they don't come apart. I'm going to be putting the hands together, the fingers together, so they're not so fragile, because Sculpting Original can be a little bit fragile once it's thin. So I'm going to be putting the fingertips together so they're a bit stronger. And just creating some little indentations for the paw pads. So the feet are a little bit different, but pretty much the same way. I'm just doing where the armature is sitting. I'm doing that a little bit differently. It's going to go upwards instead of vertical. So this is a little look at the face once it's been sculpted. I'm going to add the armature to the back of it and add the armature to the hands and feet as well. And once that's done, I can start painting everything up. So I'm using the same water-based acrylic paint that I did the eyes. And I'm just going around the eyes and the nose and very carefully around the mouth. Not being careful not to put too much paint on the tongue. It can be scraped off, but it's just a process that you don't really need to be doing. For the hands and feet, just painting the paw pads in the black. I'm just doing a light coat over this one, and then I'm going to go over it again once I apply the fur to the hands, once the doll's been put together, so it's all nice and even and got a good coverage on it.
I'm going to record some ambience and put it in this track.
The armature, I'm using a ball and socket armature. Like I said before, it's 1/4 size, so it's my medium size. I do have this in my shop at creaturesinart.com, as well as the tool if you're interested in creating armatures like this for your art dolls. Once that's done, I am just putting some pipe cleaners around it so I can needle felt the polyfill onto the body, and that basically acts as sort of a muscle tone. This process takes a little bit long, but I think the results are worth it, and especially with the raccoon, because it's a pretty solid animal. Takes a lot of polyfill to get the body done, and this faux fur that I'm going to be using, it's very raccoon-like. It's very, very similar. So I've just got a body piece, like a torso piece cut out, a rough shape, and I'm just going to be shaping it to the body. So I start off by pinning the middle together, and then I'm going to work through and just trim around the legs and pin that together, and just trimming any excess off as well, making sure not to cut the pile of the faux fur, and just cutting the backing. So I'm going to sew that up with a lattice stitch once that's done, and always get yourself a good quality thread, because you need to pull on that thread and poor quality thread tends to snap a lot. So once I've sewn up all of the torso piece, I can start working on the arms and legs, and it's the same sort of deal, just getting a piece of faux fur and just trimming it to the rough shape of the arm and then sewing it all around using the ladder stitch. Once everything has been sewn up, I can start gluing things together. So I'm using a tacky fabric glue to glue the faux fur to the polymer clay, and I just really load up the neck area to make sure it's nice and secure. The hands and feet just do a nice liberal layer around sort of the opening, and just leaving it to dry for 24 hours to make sure it's nice and adhered to the clay. So once I've applied all the faux fur, I can start adding the detailing. So I'm adding a little bit of details to the fingertips to just blend them in a bit better with just some black fabric paint, and also going over that paw pad as well to get that nice coverage. For the stripes on the tail, I'm using this jumbo fabric marker by Tulip. I have 2 packs of these. I've got different types of nib sizes, so this one is perfect for doing big stripes on the tail for like this raccoon. It works really well, so check that out, and again at my shop creaturesandnat.com. And I'm just going to go ahead and do 3 stripes all around the tail with this jumbo marker. So for this theme, I'm doing a little ghost raccoon, and the sort of look that I was going for was a really jagged sort of ghost costume that was made out of a piece of sheet that was really poorly done. So that was my idea for this one. So I'm just cutting out some eye holes, muzzle, nose hole, and some ear holes as well, so it can sit on the raccoon's face really nicely. And I'm doing sort of a hack job on it, so it looks a bit handmade. Okay, so I'm going to be painting the eye masks on, so I'm just going over the eyes using a small brush, and then I'm going to go in with a bigger brush and some fabric paint to create those eye masks on this raccoon. So I decided to go with the brush and fabric paint for this one over the markers because I really wanted to sort of get into the base of it, and sometimes with fabric markers their coverage is like a light coverage, so it doesn't really work well for like shades that you want really dark. So I tend to go for a brush and fabric paint. Okay, so I'm going to go with some little trick or treats. So these are little candy lolly things that I've made for some of my previous work. So I've got a little bucket, a little Halloween bucket, and I'm going to fill it with some of these little candies. I really enjoyed making these little candy pieces. It was a lot of fun and just something a little bit mindless as well. So I definitely want to do some more stuff with like candy. So yeah, I'll just have to have a think of what to do. So this guy is available in my shop, creaturesandart.com. Payment plans are welcome, so just shoot me a message if you're interested in a payment plan. I'm really flexible, so just shoot me a message and let me know. So just head to creaturesandart.com and shoot me a message on there if you're interested. And that's pretty much it for this one. A little look at what the ghost raccoon looks like with his little Halloween bucket and candy. Anyway, thank you to my patrons for supporting me. I really appreciate it. And check that out if you want a little bit more than what my YouTube offers. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok. More active on TikTok because the other ones are kind of crappy platforms. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff helps my channel grow, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.